Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on match day. Arsenal in action tonight in the Europa League. Two huge legs coming up against Olympiacos. The first tonight in Athens, the second back in North London a week today. Arsenal desperately hoping to avoid a similar fate that they suffered at last year when they went out of this competition at the hands of the Greek champions. And I think we all remember that dramatic, heartbreaking night really in North London when Arsenal did their best really to manage to throw the game away, conceding that last minute goal in extra time, and then a few seconds later Aubameyang missing that chance at the death to send Arsenal through. It was a difficult night at the Emirates, and Arsenal, as I said, hoping to avoid a similar fate happening this time around. If they want to do that, they want to take a good result back to North London tonight. And that's it's going to be a big game in Athens. I will talk about that later on in this video, go through some of like the selection headaches that Arteta's facing. There's a few of them, and give my predicted 11. But I thought I'd start off with some fresh comments from Mikel that you may have seen come out overnight. It's from this sort of embargoed section of the press conference he had yesterday. So all for today's papers really. They could go online at 10:30 last night. I'm not sure if you've seen them or not, but it's quite an interesting thing. He talked a lot about transfers in the summer and how the £47 million loss that Arsenal just announced could affect the transfer market this summer, or their transfer plans this summer. Also about how important qualifying for Europe is in terms of their transfer plans as well. So I thought I'd go over some of these comments. It's always quite interesting when Mikel talks transfers. He was asked a question, £47 million loss, as we've seen in the club accounts that were released earlier on this week. And obviously remember, these accounts only counter for the year end in May 2020, so it doesn't even really count the entire season that was being wiped out by COVID in terms of behind closed doors matches and lack of match day revenue, that sort of thing. And he was like, how much is it going to affect your transfer plan? I said, well, we don't know yet because there's still so many things to do. We have people on loan, people finishing contracts. There is a lot going on over the last two transfer windows. The amount of things we've done was probably unprecedented, and it will be again this summer. So hinting there at massive changes again this summer in terms of incomings and outgoings. So we're trying to put a plan together to see with the resources we have how much we want to improve, how we're going to do it, and at what cost. And there are just so many factors. It's not just about one thing or an amount. It's about a project that time-wise, how to build things going forward, and it takes effort from everybody, and we know that challenging moments we are facing at the moment is making it even harder. So certainly saying there, that he knows that the financial difficulties Arsenal are facing are making what he wants to do this summer harder, but again saying that Arsenal are working very hard in terms of putting the plans together so they can still get at least some or quite a lot of what they want to get done. Quite interesting that again there says that this summer is going to be unprecedented for Arsenal in the transfer market, just like the last couple of windows have been, in terms of how many players have gone out, how many players have come in. I think when you look at the players who could go out again this summer, there's a very long list, and especially with the finances that Arsenal are struggling with at the moment, raising money by selling players is going to be key to their transfer plans. So you look at people like Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Reece Nelson, Joe Willock, Lucas Torreira, Matteo Guendouzi, the loads I can't, off the top of my head I can't even think of others. Eddie Nketiah, his situation is going to have to be sorted. Hector Bellerin, Alexander Lacazette. So many things that need to be resolved for Arsenal this summer. Just some of those players I mentioned there have only got a year left, like Lacazette. Obviously, Bellerin's got 2 years left. Eddie's got a year left. There's lots that Arsenal need to try and sort out and work out what to do with. I think you're certainly looking at some of the players who are out on loan, like I've mentioned there, Guendouzi, Torreira, Willock, Maitland-Niles, and even Nelson, who should have gone out on loan but didn't. They're all players who are certainly Arsenal you'd think are going to look to move on if the right offer comes in and brings some money in, which they can then spend on improving the areas that they want to. Right back, potentially shaking things up if Bellerin does move on, which many people expect might happen. The striker situation, are Arsenal going to bring in a new striker given Lacazette has only got a year left, given Eddie's only got a year left? You would expect so. So it's all going to come. It's all going to also adds up to a very busy summer, as Mikel says there. He also talked about how important European qualification is in terms of the amount of money Arsenal have to spend. And he says it's another big important factor because that gives us the opportunity again to keep our club involved in Europe, in the Europa League or the Champions League. We know the aim is always to be involved in the Champions League. At the moment, that's looking difficult in terms of the Premier League qualification. And obviously the financial package that is attached to that for the club is really important. This isn't rocket science. Everyone knows that qualifying for Europe is certainly going to add to Arsenal's transfer budget, especially if they manage to get themselves into the Champions League, which as Mikel says, is looking unlikely in the Premier League. But we all know that winning the Europa League does that as well, and Arsenal certainly got themselves a fighting chance of winning the Europa League this season, and they're going to have to make sure they avoid any sort of slip-ups against the likes of Olympiacos and get themselves through to the later rounds when it really does become all to play for. Some other interesting comments from Mikel I thought was about, he talked about his Arsenal project, and I know a lot of people hate the word project and trust the process, which seems to have become a bit of a buzz term for Arsenal and Arteta at the moment. But he talked a little bit about the project, and you've got to remember, it's been a year now. Today is a year to the day that Arsenal's game at Manchester City was called off, postponed. That was the first game that was affected by the coronavirus pandemic in England that had to be suspended, called off because of it. It's exactly a year ago today. It was just after the Olympiacos owner tested positive after their win at the Emirates, and Arsenal players had been in close contact with him. And so the game was called off. And then obviously a couple of days on from now, Mikel Arteta tested positive for coronavirus and everything shut down, and football, as we know it, changed, and it still hasn't come back to normality yet. And Mikel was asked about how challenging a year it's been, what sort of 12 months it's been for a new manager coming into a job, then all of this happening, catching coronavirus, football changing, normality absolutely going out the window. What's it been like, and how difficult has it been to build something under those circumstances? And his comments are quite interesting. He says, it's been really challenging having my first job to do that, and then after being in it for only 3 months in normal conditions, to start to have a completely different context and framework to work in has been really challenging, but at the same time it has made us as a club much stronger. We have created a really strong group, a really strong bond with our players, with fans, with our staff, and that is going to pay some big tribute in the future, I think, when everything comes back to normality and we are able to work the way we need to work with some stability. I think this project is going to go bang. And this is where it's going to go bang, and this is where we are. But sometimes it is difficult to see at the moment, but I'm sure that is where we are going. So Mikel Arteta is saying Arsenal is ready to go bang. His Arsenal project is going to explode when football returns to some sort of normality. Big words. I'm sure an awful lot of you probably won't believe them, because I know there's plenty of you out there who don't think Arteta is making any progress, and that is perfectly fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Obviously, I'm of the opinion that Arsenal are making a lot of progress under Arteta, or making some progress under Arteta, and we've seen that pretty dramatically since Christmas. And again, I think all the numbers, the data, the stats suggest that is the case. Still not saying they're anywhere near where they should be, because they're not, clearly. League table tells its own story. 10th is not acceptable. It's not good enough, but I do see signs that Arsenal are getting better. And I've long been of the opinion that when this season gets out of the way and we can settle down, have a sort of pre-season this summer, and then go again next season, that we're going to really start to see the fruits of the hard work that Arteta and his coaching staff are doing at Arsenal paying off. I still think we need another transfer window, another couple of transfer windows properly, before we really see Arteta's team. But I'm pretty convinced that Arsenal are heading in a positive direction under Mikel Arteta, even though at the moment the league table, obviously doesn't suggest that. And still big words from Arteta though. Arsenal ready to go bang. Let me know if you agree with that or not. Do you believe Arsenal are in good shape? Do you think they are heading in the right direction? Or do you think Mikel Arteta's setting himself up for a little bit of a fall with comments like that? Again, let me know in the comments below. Always interested to read your opinions. Right, let's turn our attention to tonight's game, shall we? Olympiacos versus Arsenal, part 2. Auba. What a game he had last time in that second leg in North London. It looked like he'd sent Arsenal through with that fantastic bicycle kick. Mad celebrations in extra time when that goal went in. All the subs were on him. Emirates crowd going mental. And then Olympiacos go and score that goal. And then the ball drops to Auba, 6 yards out, middle of the goal. Has to be the goal to send Arsenal through, and he puts it wide. I'm not sure we'll ever forget the look on Auba's face, the stunned silence around the ground. I can still remember that noise of the realisation that he'd missed. Just mad times. And so he's going to certainly want to put things right against them over these 2 legs, considering what happened last time. And he's going into it on the back of 8 goals in 9 games for him. Auba's form, after what was a real struggle during the first half of the season, mainly because he wasn't getting any chances and Arsenal were playing such dreadful football. And now, since Christmas, since the upturn in form, since they're creating a lot more chances, it's no surprise to me that Auba's scoring goals. He hadn't lost it. It's not like he suddenly became a bad player. It was just the fact he wasn't getting any service, or was getting extremely limited service. Now he is getting service and he's scoring goals, 8 of them in his last 9 games. Mikel was speaking about him. He said obviously his stats are much better stats, and stats that are related to who he is and what he needs to bring to the team, but still he could have scored many more, and he can do better in other aspects, as he needs to keep having that mentality and have that mentality we need as players, performing at the maximum, and the team will be much better placed, because at the end things are decided in both boxes, and what we can produce in the opponent's box, he has an incredible impact for our team. And so interesting words, I thought, from Arteta, saying yes, he is back scoring goals, but he can still certainly improve in not just in scoring, but in terms of all aspects of the game. And I think we probably all understand that he's talking about hold-up play and linking play, because that's not always Auba's strong point, is it? I think whenever you have Lacazette in the team, you certainly get that more of a link-up man and someone who can hold the ball up with his back to goal and bring others into play. You don't really get that when Auba's in the team, and maybe that's what Mikel's getting at there. I was then asked, is it big players? This is a sort of night when you need Auba to turn up. And he said, in these moments, you need to have big players performing and making a difference, because at the end, it will define where we finish in the season and in games. And it looks like at this moment, he is firing and happy physically. He's in a good moment and full of confidence. So it's a good moment for him and for the team. So fingers crossed we get Auba firing on all cylinders tonight, and he can get the goals that Arsenal need to come back to North London with a pretty commanding advantage in the first leg. Right, let's go over some of the big selection issues for Mikel today, because I think there's a few of them, and I want to start on one big one, which is going to be an interesting one to see: Pepe or Willian. Obviously, Willian got the nod against Burnley again after his 2 assists against Leicester, and he contributed against Burnley. He got the assist for Aubameyang's goal early on. Didn't think he was as good as he was against Leicester. Certainly wasn't as good as he was against Leicester, but I still thought he had a decent game. Pepe had to wait and come on as a substitute, and he did certainly make an impact when he came on as a sub. Not always for the best of reasons. He missed that really, really good chance when he miskicked from Tierney's cutback. Should have scored. He probably should have. Well, he should have scored the other one, which ended up hitting the bar as well, although it was on his right foot, so you give him a bit of leeway for that one. But he was always involved, Pepe. Although he missed those chances, he was in the game. He had the incident that nearly forced the handball. He certainly made a difference and made an impact on the match, even if he should have probably scored at least one goal that game. So it's a big decision, I think, to make for Mikel tonight. Do you go with Pepe on the left, or do you go with Willian? I think we all know it's probably going to be Saka on the right, Odegaard at number 10, and Aubameyang as a central striker. So who do you play in that final position in the front four? Is it Pepe or is it Willian? Let me know what you think. Personally, I would play Pepe in this one. Willian started a couple now. We've got Tottenham game at the weekend. I think this is, although it's North London derby, which is massive, I still think these 2 games are bigger for Arsenal. The first leg and the second leg are bigger than the North London derby in terms of what it means for their season and potentially what it means for their summer. And so I'd be playing Pepe tonight. Maybe you can start Willian on Sunday against Spurs. I just think Pepe is going to give you a little bit more in this game. He's going to offer a little bit more on the counter-attack, on the break. And Olympiacos wouldn't really want to come up against him because he does make things happen. So let me know what you think about that one, Willian or Pepe. That's one of the big selection issues for Mikel. I think the other one, certainly at right back, we've seen Bellerin has been given a couple of games off now. Obviously, Cedric started against Leicester. Callum Chambers started against Burnley. So who plays at right back tonight? I know many of you believe that Bellerin is not the best option for Arsenal in that position anymore. I certainly wouldn't be disappointed if Cedric gets the nod at right back, having been rested at the weekend. I think Cedric brings an awful lot down that side in an attacking sense. He really linked up well with Pepe when Pepe played on there. I don't think Pepe will be in that position this time around, though, because I think if he does play, he'll be on the left and Saka will be back on the right. But I still think, again, Cedric could link up pretty well with Saka. Personally, I feel like Bellerin will probably get the nod over Cedric, and Cedric will be on the bench, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm not expecting Callum Chambers to play there like he did against Burnley. I think it's definitely going to be between Cedric and Bellerin, who starts in that right back position. I think it will probably be Bellerin, but it's certainly a decision that Mikel's going to have to make, and you'd think he's probably been thinking long and hard about. And then you've got the centre back position as well. For me, I'd be starting Pablo Mari every day of the week at the moment, because I think he's Arsenal's most informed defender. I think he's really, really good. I thought he was great against Burnley again at the weekend. I know everyone likes Gabriel. Everyone was really excited by the start Gabriel made to his Arsenal career, but I'm not sure he's in the best of places right now when it comes to confidence-wise and game time. So I'd be going with Luiz and Pablo Mari tonight. I have to say it's certainly a decision that Arteta will be thinking about again. I think it was Gabriel who got the nod against Benfica in the last round, so it could well be Luiz and Gabriel, an all Brazilian centre-back partnership, but for me, I'd go with Pablo Mari, so that's going to be an interesting one to go with as well when Mikel names his starting 11 a little bit later. I think those are probably the three main areas. The rest of the team kind of picks itself for me, but that's that last centre-back position, the right-back position, and who plays on the left wing. I think those are the real three big selection issues that Mikel will be thinking about, or will have been thinking about all week ahead of this big game for Arsenal. Right, before we go, let's quickly talk through my predicted 11, shall we? Again, as always, little disclaimer, this isn't anything to do with information I've got from anyone at Arsenal in terms of what I think the starting 11 will be, and this isn't what I want the starting 11 to be. This is what I'm predicting Mikel Arteta will go for tonight in Athens. Goalkeeper, but Leno, we know that. I'm going to say I think the back four he goes with is going to be Bellerin, Luiz, Mari and Tierney. The central midfield will be Xhaka and Thomas Partey. And then I'm thinking the front four will be Saka on the right, Odegaard number 10, Pepe on the left and Aubameyang as the... Oh, sorry, did I say Pepe? Sorry, Willian. I mean, I got a feeling he might end up going for Willian. Like I said, I'd go for Pepe, but I think he'll probably go for Willian. And then Auba up front. So I'll run through that again for you. My predicted 11 of what I think Mikel will go for. Leno, Bellerin, Luiz, Mari, Tierney, Xhaka, Partey, Saka, Odegaard, Willian, Aubameyang. So there you go. That's my predicted 11 for tonight. Let me know if you agree with that or not. Let me know what 11 you want to go for. Do you want to see Pepe? Do you want to see Willian? Who should play at centre-back? Who should play at right-back? Anything you want to say, any comment you want to leave, please do leave them down below. And when I try and go through them at some point today, I'll try and get back to as many of you as I possibly can. Right, thank you very much for watching. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the world. And hopefully tonight we're going to get the result we all want. So enjoy the game wherever you're watching tonight. Obviously, I'm not going to be in Athens, unfortunately, because of all the COVID issues. So I'll be covering the game from home. I will try and do my usual stuff. Certainly try and do player ratings afterwards if I get time, depending on how quickly Mikel Arteta turns up in his press conference. So keep an eye out for that. And please do follow me on Twitter throughout the day as I build up to the game. You can find me at @Charles_Watts and head over to goal.com for all your latest Arsenal news. Speak to you soon, everyone. Have a good day.